Welcome back, everyone. Professor Cordy here. Hope you had a good week. We're going to start part three of our problem solving, and this part deals with what we call critical thinking. Now, critical thinking is something that we do, but we don't do a lot of, and there's reasons for that. Critical thinking can be very time-consuming. It takes a lot of energy, a lot of focus, and frankly, it is a difficult thing to do. Now, but I think all the time, you might ask, well, that is true. The majority of your thinking, at least 80%, maybe more, of your daily thinking is what we call subjective thought. Now, subjective thought is our basic thinking that we do. We're hungry, we eat, we're talking with someone, we just back and forth very quickly, read the newspaper, get up, turn the light on, turn the light off, as the case might be. Again, that is what we call subjective thinking. It is, again, as I mentioned, 80 or more percent of our daily thought. Now, critical thinking, on the other hand, is a very difficult, can be a very difficult thinking process. What critical thinking is, it's a deep thinking, um, time consuming, high energy, difficult. And some things that we have to be aware of is that this type of thinking requires undevoted attention. Okay. Now, how long can we critically think at one time? Well, for people who are not trained at it, you can probably go 10 minutes, maybe 20, where you can just focus totally in on something and not be interrupted by anything else. And that's great. And I think um, what we'd like to do is get that significantly longer. Now, critical thinking is affected greatly by what we call emotions and or biases. Now, your emotions, as you know, something you like, something you don't like, and that's basically what a bias is. Biases are not negative. We have a tendency to use the word, "Oh, you are biased." Well, that's true. Everybody's biased about something. I prefer Italian food, and so therefore I'm biased to Italian food. Just because I like it doesn't make me bad. Doesn't make it good. Just is. But these types of inferences, these types of things that affect thinking can skew or make your thinking process not quite right. Okay. So what we're going to do is focus a little bit on critical thinking so we can improve our thinking or the ability to critically think. Now, you're at a perfect time for critical thinking. Critical thinking actually development of it occurs in your late teens to your mid 30s. Now, why late teens? Well, your brain actually, believe it or not, has not fully developed until your late teens. Now, yes, I mean we do everything, we think things, but I think the ability, the processing ability for thought, critical thought in particular, is not really fully developed until your late teens. So when you hit that point in time, it is the best opportunity to develop this improved critical thinking ability. So between late teens, mid 30s is probably the optimum time. Now, it doesn't mean after your 30s that you can't critically think or improve your thinking. No, but it plateaus. You have a very large increase, exponential increase up until your mid 30s, and then it starts to taper off. Okay. Now, yes, okay, what about older people? Well, yeah, I think it's just a brain function or the reduction of brain function that where it starts to taper off, but you're quite a ways from that. So, you're probably 30, 40, 50 years from that, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. But yeah, so this is the best time to do it. So what I want to do right now is actually take you into, well, let's take a look at the course site first, just to make sure we're all on the same page for this week. Here's the announcements that were posted. Do with your problem solving part two, identify, and define the problem. I will look at all of your submissions and get points in. If you haven't done these yet, please get them in so I can get your points. Again, we're going to start problem solving part three. And again, this particular part deals with critical thinking. So I'm going to stop the share here and now go to the fact sheet. And here we go. Here's the fact sheet for this week. You can see there are 8 objectives, 7 of which have an actual document that you have to work on, add your information in just like the previous two. So understanding critical thinking. Well, again, we mentioned what critical thinking it is. It is a highly devoted, time-consuming activity. We don't do a lot of it simply because if we did all of our critical thinking, we'd run out of hours in a day. And frankly, there's no reason to critically think. Like right now, I'm going to have a sip of juice. Why? Because I'm subjectively thinking. I'm thirsty. I'm running a little dry. Did I think about it? Did I analyze it? No, I just did it. So, do you think? Of course, we all think. We think 24/7. We think at night. I mean, if we're breathing, our heart is beating, our brain, and we're dreaming, our brain's working, we're thinking. We cannot not stop our thinking. Well, if you do, that usually means death, but we're not going to worry about that. So, what is critical thinking? I've already pretty much mentioned it. It's taking your normal subjective thought steps higher, where you totally focus in on thought. Easy to do? No. Can you do it? Yes. Can you improve upon it? Absolutely. What's an argument? Well, an argument is something that you will use critical thought to help create. Now, argument is a set of points, informational points, that when you combine them together, it supports your position. So basically, an argument is your position on something. Analyzing the argument, well, if all of your points are valid and they all logically connect together, that's how we determine our argument. Um, Exploring weaknesses. Oh, excuse me. Weaknesses in an argument. Well, a lot of the weaknesses in an argument are based upon the individual points that you come up with, individual thoughts you come up with that you deduce, you come up with an argument. Well, the problem is a lot of times all these points might be valid, but together they're not. Okay. So you cannot assume you got 15 points, all 15 points are valid. But when you combine them all together, they don't have a valid conclusion. So that's what we talk about weaknesses. Barriers to communication, well, biases are the biggest one. Emotions are the biggest one. Again, this section will help you to figure out how to avoid these barriers. Okay. Introduction, inductive, deductive reasoning. Yes, we talked about that. How to avoid inductive reasoning. Well, again, the big problem again is, well, I've got these valid points, therefore it must be correct if I put them all together. No, absolutely not. You can put them together individually; they're logical, but as together they may not be illogical, and that's something you have to test. So, becoming a critical thinker, again, this is your best opportunity to start doing it, improve upon it. You probably already do it, you don't even do it. I got a feeling if you're into playing games, you're probably critical thinking, you're very devoted, you're very focused. And that's fine, that's part of it. But we have to be able to reason problems out, come up with the solutions, come up with arguments and whatnot, and then anticipate what someone else may or may not say, and that helps to improve your arguments and your critical thinking. So that's basically what this section is all about. As you can see, there are several videos, a number of videos. They are all in here, as you can see in the YouTube channel, in the order that you will watch them. Most, if not all of them, I can't recall, are those that I found on YouTube. Now, again, do you have to watch them? Absolutely not. But if you think that they might be valuable, since we are a visual learner more than any other kind of a learner, videos help to support written documents. So if it works for you, great. If not, don't worry about it. If the book is fine, go with the book. I don't have a problem with that. All right, so that is what's going on for this week. Now, I do want to take one more look back and make sure that everything you need is in the assignments and quizzes. Okay, problem solving, decision making. Yes, part 3, critical thinking. And yes, all your documents are here. The video you're watching right now and all the other associated videos are in YouTube. So, I think that's all I need is to provide an introduction to. As always, if you have questions, concerns, please send me an email. Again, if you are a little behind, get your material in, your assignments in, so I can get you some points. And until my next video next week, have a great week. Wear your masks, wash your hands, all the good stuff, and I'll talk to you later. Bye bye.